day. I rolled over this morning and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am 15 minutes late and I'm not even out of bed yet. So it's one of those mornings, but it's a good morning.
It is. You made it here in time.
I did make it in time.
So that's a good thing.
What a blessing.
It's
so
a huge
welcome to
blessing.
welcome to the heart and soul of Texas women this morning. We are coming to you live from Venture X Studios here in Frisco. And it's just
excited to be here.
Yes.
Great week, great guest again. And, we rebroadcast the show on Sundays. And, there was a lovely comment that somebody wrote about you and your testimony and what you've been through. If you didn't get a chance to catch last week's show, highly recommend going back and listening to Lisa's testimonial. It's inspirational. It's jaw-dropping.
Well,
You look at you now and you're so put together and everything's all great and everything. You had a rough road to get here.
I did. But you know what? The point is, I'm here.
I know, and
right?
we love it.
And
we love it.
We are coming to you, empowering women and trying to be an inspiration. And that's really what this walk is about.
Well, and that's the thing, Lisa, you're so right. It's and we bring guests that we feel like, if we don't have the answers, and nobody has all the answers, but at least if there's something from each guest you can take away, you can put into your everyday life, you can put into your, your walk with Christ, and each week get a little bit stronger. And if you're having a hard time, I'm going to say this again, and we say it every week, if you're having a hard time, message us, get in touch with us. We will pray for you. We will ask our guests to pray for you. We don't have to know what's wrong, or you can tell us what's wrong.
Absolutely.
And we just want to make sure that everybody knows that you're just one ask for help away from having people pray for you.
We are wanting to link arms with you. We want to do life with you. We want to be able to come in and encourage you, give you some hope, bring you back to a place where you have joy. And this is what I love about our guest today. Our guest today is going to be one of the most joyful people that you've ever met.
Cannot wait to meet her.
And nothing holds her back, and that's what I love. Alicia Watson with Redeemed Women is going to be joining us today. And her story is so inspirational. And I really just want to dive in and share.
Well, we would spend the whole entire hour just talking about her resume.
Oh, well, and what she's been through. We talk about the things that we've been through, but we can get stuck in our past.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's so easy for our past to hold us back. But we want to be able to get to a place where we can see hope and we can see future, and we concentrate on our destiny. Remember, nobody gets to decide your destiny besides you and Jesus.
Amen.
So don't allow somebody to speak negativity into your destiny.
Right.
Don't allow somebody to hold you back or keep you down.
Yep.
You have the right to say, I don't receive that. Yeah. And so with that, you're now able to move forward. You're now able to start working on your future. And so that's what we're about. We're really about linking arms with women and encouraging you today. So if you are in that place like Kathy was talking about where you need prayer, you need encouragement,
we're here for you, sisters.
Yes, we are. We've been there. We've been in the trenches. And
some days, it's one of those things. You might be going through a major change in life, or it may just be one of those things that either something from your past keeps creeping up, or you're just not having a good day. Now, I love Lisa's attitude. She's always so great. Well, you can't, all the Lisa-isms I've gleaned, from our time together. You can't worry and worship. And then also, you put into play, into action what you say. You're one of those, what is it? You walk the walk, you talk the talk and walk the walk.
Somebody's watching.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing. So you woke up late thinking, okay, Kathy might have to take over the first part of the show, and you're all, probably frazzled and all this kind of stuff. But then you come down and sit down and you're all about making sure that people know the good word about Jesus Christ.
Right.
I love that.
Well, it's all in my attitude. Here's the thing. I did wake up late, if anybody out there has any tips on how to get it together fast, I need those because I'm like injured, hobbling. I can't even talk around on one leg. You know, I need all the help I can get this morning. But I woke up and nothing changed other than I'm running late, right?
Right.
Everything is exactly the same. So I can get out of bed and I can focus on, oh my goodness, I'm running late. Or I can focus on, today is a good day.
I woke up today.
Yeah. I have the strength to make it through. Right. Now I may have lipstick on my eyebrows, right?
But that will be trending.
Right, you know, but it doesn't take away from, I can still do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So it doesn't help to be upset. It doesn't help to be angry. It doesn't help to be anxious. I got up and did what I needed to do to get here, and I got here in time. And I just prayed.
We had time to pray and everything.
I just prayed, Lord, I don't need a dump truck in my way this morning because, you know, I live in the country, and so it never fails. I always have a truck in front of me. I don't need a dump truck in front of me this morning, God. I need to hit every light green, and I hit every light.
And that's like unheard of.
I am running on fumes. I needed to stop and get gas. And I'm like, no, Lord, I need to make it there. There's a gas station across the street.
Like literally right after the studio, you can get gas. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's going to be okay. So, you know, I just turned my stinking thinking into positive thinking.
Well, and that way, Lisa, you're able to be there for somebody else. Somebody right now needed you to be here and needed you to be on point, so they can hear and receive what information you're giving, so you can introduce our guests.
Well, our days aren't always great.
No, they're just not. And we're not here to pretend like, oh, everything's great and everything's a social media moment. Right. Life's not. Life is ugly. Life is messy. Life hurts. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I've mentioned before, you know, we lost a dear family member recently. I honestly, a lot of times I just sit and pray, because I feel bad for the people who don't have faith. I know where my family member is right now. Like you said, you're like, girl, he's dancing with Jesus. You're good. You're left behind to mourn him, but he's in all his glory right now.
You know, one of the things that got me through during one of my hardest times when my grandmother passed was somebody told me there's nothing like butterfly kisses from Jesus. And I'm like, what? What is that? Can you elaborate? So she said, you know, he's sitting at the right hand of the Father, able to walk down and say, you know what, I have a kiss for you today from your granddaughter. And I thought, how wonderful. All I have to do, because the communication with our loved one is broken, right?
Right.
But all I have to do is say today, Jesus, I am really missing my grandmother today. Could you give her a kiss for me? Right? And how simple is that? And the peace that comes upon me knowing.
It washes over you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a peace that comes upon me knowing that I still have that moment where I can say, Grandma, I love you, and give her a kiss.
And you know you'll be reunited.
One day we will be reunited. And how glorious is that?
And that, again, that's where my heart breaks. And if you're one of those people right now that is struggling with your faith, has never had faith, is looking to decide which way am I going to go, we are not here passing judgment at all.
No.
You know, we're just not. We're here to say this is a great path to go down, and you're never alone when you choose that path. And especially, again, like I said, it's just it really sticks with me when I think, how do people get through a death of a loved one? How do you get through the hard times in life? How do you get through divorce, death, loss of a loved one, loss of income, all the chaos, all the hard, rough, tough things, abuse, substance abuse? How do you get through these things? Well, if you don't have faith, that makes you want to pray and bring even more people over to this way, because at least you have that sense of peace. Everything might be going crazy, but at least you have that sense of peace because you have that faith.
Right. And, you know, for me, I wanted that in my home. Yeah. I wanted all my guests, my family members, whoever enters my home, to be able to sense and feel such a peace, right?
Right.
Well, if I'm not at peace and my husband is not at peace, well, then how are we going to bring that peace into our home?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of times, we're really goofy when we're at the house, and we laugh a lot.
Why can I see that? And Leon's been on the show before, and you can go back and catch Leon and Lisa did a show together a few weeks back. I can see that about y'all. Y'all are just y'all are very successful people, but y'all are just fun, easy, laid back, non-judgmental folks.
We are. And I mean, how do you do life with people if you're looking at it from a judgmental place? You can't.
No.
You can, but you're not going to be successful. So, sometimes we have people that'll come over and their marriage is really in a bad place. Yep. And so we're sitting at the dinner table and I may say, well, why did you marry each other? What was it about her or him that you fell in love with? Why did you marry each other? And they'll look at me and one will start to speak. I said, oh, no. Don't tell me. Tell him.
Yes.
Or tell her. So can you just look at him and tell him why you married him?
Yeah.
Or can you look at her and tell her why you married her? And that there's such an impact there, because normally what they're doing is they're renewing their vows without even realizing it. Yeah. So they're breaking walls.
Yeah.
And by the time they leave, there's a refreshing that's taken place.
And you never know what that leads to, because that seed has been planted, and it can be as small as a mustard seed. And it makes a difference.
It does. And I have to go back so many times, not to the fact that this is why I married him, because if you listened to him and I on our segment, we started out with some real major struggles. We didn't start out like in love. We were in love. Don't get me wrong. We loved each other, but we had some major issues. He hadn't been divorced long. I was still angry and bitter. And so we had a lot of things that we needed to work on, a lot of baggage we brought into the relationship. So sometimes we have to look at it and go, okay, well, we're going to share with you year 8, because that's when it got good.
We didn't talk about this.
But and one of the things we do is we have this deck of cards, and you can buy these on Amazon, and they're not faith-based related, but they're great. They're just neutral cards.
Right.
And sometimes they ask, not sometimes, they all ask a question. And what we like to do is shuffle these cards and be at dinner and just pull out one question. And
talk and read and
talk about that particular question, because that particular question does nothing but empower our relationship.
I love it. And
so it's about empowering each other.
Speaking of empowering, we're about to have a phenomenal guest on.
Yes. So
excited.
Let us tell you a little bit about Alicia this morning. I met Alicia a couple of years ago, and she is just full of life, radiant, full of joy, laughs all the time, and I love that, but has an amazing testimony. And I really don't want to share it. I would like for Alicia to share it. So anyway, she does go by Chocolate.
And I love that. So right away, I'm like, oh, I love this person, because she has given herself that nickname.
Yes.
Correct? I love
She's
that.
so real, and you're going to love that. But she is an urban missionary to the community, to women of Bonton Farms here in Dallas, and to the greater Dallas Metroplex. She has always had that servant's heart.
Yeah.
She just exudes joy. I'm telling you, she's amazing. She has a strong desire to serve the Lord and the lost and the lonely.
Wow.
Right? I mean, that is just so impeccable. She volunteers all the time. I think her life is nothing but a volunteer.
Well, you said she's got a servant's heart. I mean, you can tell by people's actions.
Right. I like to think that I have that servant's heart too, but she definitely brings it full force. And she has just a strong ministry and a strong testimony, and knows that God has called her and put her in this place of ministry, and she focuses on women and their uniqueness and what they bring to the table. What are their problems? Where are their needs? How can she get them from a place of distress and a place of loneliness and a place of need? How can she encourage them? And she comes across with every woman just pouring into them, just pouring into them. And I know that about 2 months ago, we met for lunch, and here we are in the middle of our COVID season, right? And we're walking in, and I'm expecting to talk about redeemed women and the ministry that she has started with women. And somehow we get on us, and it turns into a moment of ministry. And then the next thing you know, we're both crying. And, you know, that's real. That's real. Those are real moments. And this poor waiter's trying to wait on us, you know.
Do I go in now or not?
And we're sitting at the table, and we've got this ugly cry going on, and, you know, but she's so amazing. And you just want to hang out all day with Chocolate. So I want to welcome Chocolate here with us on our Zoom call this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies.
How are you, beautiful?
I am good. Thank you. I hope you all are doing well.
We are. Thanks for being on Heart and Soul of Texas Women.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, I'm so grateful.
Oh, we are so excited. So we've been talking this morning. Actually, the last 2 months, we've been talking about mentorship and what mentoring is, and how do we mentor, and what does that mean? And so first of all, I shared my testimony last week, and I'm going to put you on the spot because I didn't ask you to do this. But before we go into mentorship, can you share with us a little bit about your testimony and what you have come through and your walk, so that our listeners can kind of understand who you are?
Absolutely. Yeah, so my name is Alicia Watson, affectionately known as Chocolate, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I am almost 40 in July. I am a single mother of one and a newly divorced woman as well. And so that's kind of my life now, but my past life is I grew up in extreme, absolute poverty. I am a product of a mother being on drugs and alcohol, and my dad, a product of my dad being an alcoholic. I had a baby at 14 years old. So I'm a product of generational poverty as well, and even in terms of duplicating and multiplying and all the things my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and me all had a baby up under the age of 16 years old. My daughter is 25 and she's not a mother. And so kudos to having strong people in my life to encourage me to do something different. But then I also had a perseverance to do something different. And what I like to say is, but God. I had cancer 3 times. I had bone cancer twice in my left leg. And then I had breast cancer in 2013 of my left breast, but I did a double mastectomy without reconstruction. I put myself through school, graduated high school at 17, went to school for early childhood education, and have associates in that. And then I did that for about 10 years before getting into transportation and logistics. So I am not a master's or a bachelor's girl, but I believe in hard work. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I have been through domestic violence. I've been raped several times. I've been homeless, physically, emotionally, spiritually abused, all the things. But I continue to say, but God, because it is through Him I'm able to smile like I do, and such a bright smile, but continue to live my life in obedience. I am currently now the founder and executive director of a ministry organization that I started called Redeemed Women. I told God on my deathbed in 2013 of being diagnosed with breast cancer, I said, Lord, if you save my life, I'll work for you. Tell God to plan and watch him laugh, because that's what he did. He saved my life. And now I'm truly working for him. And I always had a heart to serve women. I just didn't know what that was going to look like before starting Redeemed Women. But I have a heart for education, and I have a heart for poverty alleviation in terms of generational poverty. My daughter, like I said, is 25 years old. She'll be 25 in May. She is not a mother. She works hard. She graduated from Skyline High School here in Dallas. She went to El Centro Community College and has an associate's in arts, and then went to UTA. And so it can happen, right? But it takes dedication and hard work and all the things. And so what I lacked was support in growing up. And so I wanted to be able to give that back. I also went through being bullied as a kid. And so I got the name Chocolate because my skin is darker than most. And specifically on my mom's side, my siblings are biracial. I grew up in Southern California, born here in Dallas. My parents divorced when I was 2, and so I grew up in Southern California. But I like to say that my mother was a Rolling Stone, and so we lived all over. And so I saw my mom date outside her race, so it wasn't abnormal to be with a Hispanic guy or a white guy. So my siblings are biracial, and I'm not. And then when I got to Texas, my dad's family kind of bullied me a little bit, kids in school. And so they used to call me this chocolate baby. And, you know, when I turned 17, I kind of got to the point where I was going to own what chocolate was. And I would always say, you may know some Alicias, but you're not going to know very many chocolates that's going to leave a lasting impression. And God has clearly called me to do that. So that's what I like to say. That's the trailer of the story. You can buy the movie ticket later. Alicia,
I'm ready.
Lisa, you have already bought the movie ticket, you know, because we met for that. We met to talk about, you know, the trailer. And then now our relationship is continuing to blossom and bloom. And we will continue to do that. And so, yeah, so that's what I like to tell people, because I am an open book. If it's something I don't want to talk about, I know how to tell you that. But for the most part, I'm pretty open. There's no question that I won't answer. And yes, I like last minute on the spot things, because why not? That's just the kind of girl that I am. I'm not guarded with many of my words, and I'm a sharp shooter, and I just keep it real. And so you never have to wonder about me, because I show up being who I am. I don't pretend at that. So with that being said, that's kind of who I am. And yeah, a little bit about my background. And yeah, and I live here in Dallas. I live 6 minutes away from the organization. So I'm in the same neighborhood that I'm working to fight. I live with my neighbors. I live amongst them. So yes.
Wow. I mean, what do you say to that?
I mean, okay, great show, everybody. Here's how you get in touch with chocolate. I mean, it just, you know, I listen. First of all, I'm looking at you, and you've got this big, beautiful smile on your face. I mean, you just exude, you know, happiness and confidence and joy. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I know you can see me because I can't see y'all.
Yeah, we can see you though.
Yes,
we
can.
You're big and on screen right now. And here's
good.
you are. Oh yeah, we can see you. Look great. But I'm sitting here listening to your story, and again I'm thinking, oh my, even half of one of those things would have knocked most people down for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Well,
and
you know,
it's
like a few segments back, I came in with a shirt on that had darts on it. Remember?
Yes.
And it was times where the enemy had pierced me. And this right here is a story of piercing. You know, the devil knew where she was going and what she was going to be. And every single time he came up against her and he pierced her with a dart, she said, not today, Satan. I'm getting up. I'm moving forward. I'm going on. I have a story. And it's such an anointed survivor story of how she moved and made a commitment in a hospital bed saying, okay, God, here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to be a servant with a servant's heart, and I'm willing to go into the areas and live amongst the people. That's what Jesus did. Jesus went. He went to the bad places because they weren't great.
Right.
He
Yeah.
met
No.
with
was
the
with prostitutes.
he
and,
met
and
with the
criminals
worst
and
of people
Right.
that had everyday life challenges that had been pierced
Right.
by the enemy,
Yes.
and said, "Not today, Satan. I'm getting up."
Yeah.
And she got up.
Yeah.
I love that. I
She
love
got
that.
up. She got up. She moved forward. And not only that, she has published a book.
I love it. Yes.
Yes.
So first of all, how do people get in touch with you? Where can they buy the books? We're putting like I've got redeemedwomen.org. I've put that in
Yes.
our comments and on the broadcast today. How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so here's the list. So redeemwomen.org, definitely, because it will automatically take you to my email address. When you send the email, it comes directly to me. But they can email me at chocolate@redeemwomen.org. So that's my work email, chocolate@redeemwomen.org. You can find me on Instagram at Watson Chocolate, or you can find Redeemed Women on Instagram at Redeemed Women Dallas. And I'm also on Facebook as well, and Redeemed Women is on Facebook. Specifically Redeemed Women Dallas on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. We'll put all those links in there.
Book. People can buy the book if they're locally. They can stop by the Church of Incarnation here in Dallas, and they have a bookstore. And my book is being held at their bookstore.
Oh,
And
excellent.
and so that's if they're local. If they can be local also, and I can mail them a copy of the book. So what you do is you go onto our website and you pay for it up under the donate button, because we don't have our merchandise button working right now. So you pay for it up under the donate button, and you put in the memo section book, and I'll mail you out an autographed copy. And so you get, if I mail it to you, you get it autographed. If you buy it in the store, it's not autographed, of course. But people can also host a coffee or a tea or a cocktail hour with their friends in their backyard or in their homes, and invite me out to speak, and I'll share my story. I'll bring books as well. And then I also can bring other merch that Redeemed Women sells. But I am a highly relational person, and so I love to do life with others, and I'll go anywhere to do that, because why not? I don't have any kids at home, and I'm single, so I can do what I want to do.
You're your own boss.
I love that. We might have to do an event here at Venture X and
we should
have
do
her
like a
come
little,
out
yeah,
and do
like wine and cheese,
and wine.
come
Look,
out and witness and talk to people about your story.
Right. I
Oh,
love
that would
that.
be a blast.
Well, we will definitely get that on the books and put that out on our website as
Love
well.
that. Love
But
that.
what I love about Chocolate and Redeemed Women is she lives in the community. She's doing community work.
Yeah.
She is coming alongside people. She's an inspiration. So, Chocolate, tell us a little bit about Redeemed Women, how you got started, and where you're at today.
Yeah, absolutely. I am blown away at how God has shown up for Redeemed Women. So we're actually getting ready to celebrate our 4th birthday. Let me plug this too. We're getting ready to celebrate our 4th birthday and ribbon cutting ceremony.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, at our home, at our new location, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And people can find out more about that by visiting our website or Instagram or Facebook.
What's that date?
And I would love for April the 10th.
April 10th.
10 a.m.
I'm going to put it on our social media. Love
Yeah,
it.
and I would love for y'all to share that, and anybody is welcome. The friends, the family, the coworkers, the dogs, everybody. Come on down. This is going to be a great day, and I'm sure that the weather is going to be nice, so we'll be outside. And then I'll give you the address before we wrap up. But a little bit about Redeemed Women is, I had a heart to serve women, and I had a heart to serve impoverished communities, because that's what I can speak to. No shade to what I would like to say, people that want to come down to the neighborhood, i.e. my white friends. But when you have not grown up in this, there are some things that you're going to miss. And so I just believe in raising up leaders from within. And I believe that somebody had to be the voice, and God has specifically called me to use my words. I tell people all the time, I'm not a media person. I don't, play the keyboard or piano or drums or anything like that, but I am a voice for the people, because I stand up for injustice. I'm not an activist, but I am not a quiet person either. And so Redeemed Women was birthed. I was in nonprofit. I've been in nonprofit 7 years, almost 8. But Redeemed Women was birthed because I understand about living in a community. So I'm in South Dallas for people that understand Dallas. And South Dallas, I'm talking about the Fair Park State Fair neighborhood, not the Oak Cliff South Dallas. I'm talking about old South Dallas.
Right.
And so in this community, 86% of women are Black and they are single mothers. And I think people don't know that. And so guess what I am? I'm Black, and guess what I also am? A single mother. And I was a single mother. I had a daughter at 14 years old, and the baby daddy wasn't there. And so, I think people don't understand that this community has been hurt. Again, predominantly women, undereducated, low income, government assistance, living in housing. But what does it look like to really, have a thriving life? And so for me, one of the things I know that God has given me a lot of skill set. Luckily, I know how to read, and that's not the case for a lot of my neighbors. And so I was able to work my way out, and I surrounded myself with mentors, and I know we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But I surrounded myself with mentors to kind of help encourage me and inspire me. So I just started walking in my community. I found that I had breast cancer, and I was like, man, where are all the women at? Well, I realized that all the women were either in the house taking care of the kids, they were at work, so they left at 4 a.m. and didn't get back to 9 p.m. because they had to ride the city bus like me. Or they were in the house, domestic violence, beat up and bruised up, or they were on drugs, or just coming out of prostitution and mass incarceration, or their husband leaving them. And so all the things that, what I like to say, all of us women go through, our support system just looks different. And so for me, I just was like, okay, how can I start an organization in the neighborhood, a ministry that would speak to my neighbors? And I started with just holding a Bible study in my home. I did a Bible study for 3 years in my home, but I didn't call it a Bible study. I called it Just for Us. And we were going to gather just for women in this community. Then I would use the empty lot next door to my house, and we would sit out here, and 20 to 45 ladies would show up every Tuesday, for Just for Us. And I was like, God, what are you doing with this? Well, then later on, we started doing program things. And so I would invite Bank of America out to do faith and finances, but we didn't call it that. We just had friends that got together that wanted to learn how to budget their food stamps, because we live in a food desert. And a lot of people think that, people are addressing the food desert insecurities and all of that. But people fail to realize that food desert and food insecurities are two different things. You can put a store in the neighborhood or a market or whatever in the neighborhood, but if I can't afford it, it's still a food insecurity. Or if I don't even know how to budget it, it's still a food insecurity. And so I think what people fail to realize is that is the holistic relational approach that I take to understanding that these 86% women in my neighborhood, guess who's doing the grocery shopping? It's the women. And so guess who needs the training? It's the women. And not that some men are not there, because some of them are, but a lot of them are like backdoor baby daddies. So they come in at night, they leave out. We got 10 churches on every corner here that's preaching prosperity gospel. So really, where does their help come from? And I really found out that out of 95% of the jobs being up north, yes, 95% of jobs are up north. What happens here? A woman cannot get her resources unless she travels out of the community. Well, what about bringing things to her because she doesn't have a babysitter? Or what about job skills that she can access locally because she doesn't have a transportation? Or what about if she wants to even get a job and she doesn't even have a driver's license or ID? We help address those needs. So what I like to say is, we have the bigger organizations, United Way or Salvation Army or some of those things. But what I would like to say is the Lord has said to me, before you can go to all the ends of the earth, you got to start right here in Judea and Samaria. And that is in our own backyard. And so for me, it was a sacrifice. I didn't want to start it in my own backyard, but if I was going to be obedient to do what he wanted me to do, I had to listen. And so we do computer classes, we do life skills training, mock interviews, we do work readiness attire. We show you how to show up, not at 10 o'clock, but at 9:45, because that's on time. And so when I think about, just those things is, it just all boils down to education. And culturally and generationally, we lack some of those things. And it's the crab in the bucket mentality. If I see you getting a little higher, I'm going to pull you back down because I really don't want you to go a little higher. And so that meant, even for my own stuff, that I had to separate myself from some people that did not believe in the calling on my life, which was redeemed women and other things, for me to prosper. So,
you should have seen the look on Lisa's face when you said that, Chocolate. That seriously, that is something that Lisa and I discuss on this show over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Those toxic people, even in Chocolate, you know what I'm talking about. One toxic person, one judgmental, negative, toxic person who's taking you away from the real plans the Lord has for you can literally annihilate your life.
Well, and I'm all about, let's talk about those generational curses, right? How do we get over those generational curses? And those are so critically important because we're born with those curses upon us. And how do you break it? She is a prime example. All these people in her family that have had babies at very young ages, and now she's got a daughter who's 25 who doesn't have a baby,
but has a career.
Has an education.
You broke that. You broke that.
She broke that generational curse. Right. Yeah. And it was like I said, I don't remember when during my testimony, when I said my grandpa used to tell me, he used to whisper in my ear all the time, you're going to split hell wide open, as he was leaving. And so what did I do with that? I had two choices. I could accept it or I could reject it. And I slammed the door and said out loud, sometimes I screamed it, I don't receive it. And you know what? I never did.
Yeah. You didn't.
I never did.
Yeah.
And I love that, I live on Isaiah 61:1, where it says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon us because the Lord has anointed us to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind the brokenhearted and to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison and those who are bound. I mean, that's what we've been called to. Chocolate's been called to that. I've been called to that. And so that's how you become a survivor. We're hanging on to the good news of God, which comes from the Word of God, right?
And the mentality, hanging on to the mentality of, do I want to be a victim? Do I want to stay a victim? Or do I want to be victorious?
Right.
And that's and you've got that choice. Everybody has, no matter what your tragedy is, no matter what your walk of life, everybody has that choice to either, like you said, you can choose to be a victim and stay down, or you can empower yourself. And I love, Chocolate, the way you've done this with ladies in your neighborhood, and that is, you're not saying, and we're going to have, finances 101. Well, you know what? I don't want finances 101. I do want to be around some other women who are like-minded, who know my walk in life. So you're smart the way it's like a marketing choice, if you will. I think that's fantastic because so many times if you put things out there, maybe the way you've come to understand it, or somebody who's been through this and has come out the other side successful, but you've got to go back to, where is that person? And if anything sounds judgmental, smells judgmental, walks in a judgmental manner, I'm not going to touch it.
I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to elaborate just before we move on. We are celebrating our new location, because I mentioned that a little bit. So what we did, I live in a tiny house, Habitat house here in South Dallas. And again, running the ministry out of my home for literally 3.5 years is it's time to move on. So luckily I know how to budget well, and so and my board really trusts me. And so again, for people that don't know, when they look up Redeemed Women, they need to know that Redeemed Women is a 501c3, so you can donate there as well. Guess what? It's all tax deductible. I'm plugging that because guess what? I have to.
Absolutely,
we just bought a house that we turned into our ministry space. So we've moved out of my home to really expand. And this motto, my vision for this motto is to plant chapters in impoverished communities around the globe. And so the Lord told me early on that this will be an international global ministry. And this is the handbook for it right now. And in less than 4 years, and I say less than because we're not 4 years old until April 9th. And so in less than 4 years, he gave us a paid for space. So we bought a house that $140,000. cash. It is ours. We own it. And no one lives there, but our office there. We have a counseling center that we just opened up. We have a computer lab. We have staff offices. We have a huge backyard where we have picnics and barbecues and these kind of things to get to know the neighborhood. But I'm really most impressed with the computer lab because that's something that we was not expecting to have. And so we're in renovations with that right now. And people are saying, Chocolate, why is that so important? Well, okay, let me tell you about redlining. If you don't know about it, go look up redlining because we don't have a lot of time to talk about it today. But redlining is a thing that exists to keep, the wealthy from the non-wealthy. And also what happens with redlining is it goes across the board with resources, i.e. technology, i.e. computer access and internet access. So, our neighbors don't have nice computers that they can work on. And if they have computers, they don't have internet that they can afford every month. So we have a computer lab where they can come and use our computer and internet for free. These is what donations pay for. If we want to help for economic development, we have to meet the need locally. So we have these things where women can come in. We help them with basic computer skills. We help them fill out a job application, help them with resume writing, or we help them apply for their WIC or their SNAP benefits if that's what they need at the time. Because I know, I used to be on government assistance. I know what these things are, and they're hard, and sometimes the applications are hard. And so we have this in-house now in a comfortable, cozy setting that's clean, that's relaxing, that's judgment-free. And then we say, how can we walk alongside you? Because here's the thing. We are willing to plant the seed, water it, and help see it grow, which means we're willing to walk alongside you if you want us to. We're not going to force ourselves on you. But we have boundaries over here. There are rules. And I'm a very boundaried and rules person. And so that's going to come across the board. Now, if you can stick in, that's fine. But if not, then maybe Redeemed Women is not the place for you. But I can tell you some of the things that we're celebrating is two high school graduates graduated high school and going to college because Redeemed Women helped pay for that. We're also celebrating a mom of two that was 28 years old that dropped out of high school because she had two babies, and we helped her graduate Urban High SD. Not a GED at 28 years old.
Awesome.
A high school diploma at 28 years old.
Love it.
Because she didn't know that she can just go back and take a test.
Yep.
Wow.
Who knows this? You don't know that when you're a mother and you got kids and you're trying to worry about these. So again, these are some of the success stories that we're celebrating with this. We're also celebrating, again, being able to address the need locally. So, we have a place that's right here in the community that the women can walk to, ride their bikes to, or ride the dart bus to.
I love that. You know what she is explaining is my favorite term. Chocolate is explaining the 5 F-bombs.
Oh, yes. And
Here we go. I know this. Look at the look on her face. Did she just say that?
I'm going to write this down.
She is explaining the 5 F-bombs. Faith,
Yep.
family, finance, fitness, and freedom.
Yep.
I'm going to say it again. Faith, family, finances, fitness, and freedom. She's explaining the 5 F-bombs. How do you get to freedom?
Yeah.
You start with your faith.
Yes.
How do you get to take care of your family? You start with your faith.
Amen.
How do you take care of your finances? You start with your faith. And it takes all of those 5 F-bombs to get to a healthy place.
Well, and you have to have boundaries, and you
yes,
and we
I'm
spoke
big
about
on
this.
that.
You're big on it, and I know Chocolate is as well.
Oh, I am.
You have to be, and so because Lisa talked about boundaries in her childhood versus the lack of boundaries, kind of having both extremes, and how those boundaries as a child are crucial. They're absolutely crucial, and as an adult as well, because you giving somebody else boundaries, you're letting them know, I love you. I want to show you respect. You show me respect. And so these women who come to work with you, you've got goals and objectives and boundaries, and you're doing this out of a place of love. If I give you a hall pass, if you're always 30 minutes late when I have an appointment with you, I am not doing you any favors by saying, oh, no problem. Because when you go to a job interview, you're 30 minutes late. Guess what? Somebody else got the job.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good stuff.
And boundaries set.
But isn't that what God does with us, though, y'all?
Yes.
Like, he does the same thing with us. He gives us rules and boundaries. He's like, no, this is life, Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get
It's
up.
true. Yeah.
You know, and I always say that setting boundaries is a great potential for great leadership.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because when you have those boundaries, you know what's expected and you can hit those points of expectation.
Right.
Because there's been clear boundaries that have been set. After time, those begin to make great leaders.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You have great leadership skills because of boundaries that have been put in place. You know, recently we looked at a new school for my daughter, and one of the things that the dean said was, we have rules, we have boundaries. And I'm like, oh, I'm in love, right?
Oh, excellent.
Because those boundaries that are put in place, those rules that are put in place are going to help her to accomplish her goals.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I love that, Chocolate. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
It's phenomenal. Well, and also, Chocolate, and I'm going to piggyback off what Lisa said. So what you're doing with these ladies is you are turning them into leaders in their family. Instead of being followers or victims, you're a leader in your family, be that as a mom or as a daughter or as a wife or a sister, an aunt, whatever your place is.
And whatever age.
Exactly. And same with work.
Yeah.
Same with your education. You are teaching people, once you have those leadership skills and you feel empowered, there's nothing stopping you.
Well, and sometimes I've said this when I've mentored women is it's time to rise up.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's time to rise up. Quit playing the handicap card. It's time to rise up. There's nothing handicap about you.
Yeah.
You know, I had to, and I think I've shared this at one point when I was mentoring somebody, I said to her, because I was taking care of my grandmother had a handicap card. She was 95 years old. Right. I gave her my keys. I need you to go out to my car and I need you to get the handicap placard on the side of the door and bring it in. So she does. And she comes in and there's a copy machine. I said, I need you to make a copy of that. She makes a copy of it. And I said, now I need you to laminate it. So she goes over to the laminating machine, laminates it. I said, now cut it out. She cut it out. I said, poke a hole in the top of the card. She poked a hole in it. I said, put a piece of string around this card. And I'm helping her to gather all this stuff so it moves. But I'm making her do the work.
Go through the motions.
Right? I said, now put that around your neck so that wherever you go, everybody knows you're handicapped. And it clicked.
Wow.
It clicked right then.
Wow, that is a good analogy.
I think Chocolate is stealing that idea.
So she go
girl, I love it.
Go for it, sister.
Yes.
But you can't be 28 years old and be handicapped all your life.
Yes.
You have to start making decisions. You have to rise up. You have to get it together. You have to decide what your purpose is in life and where your destiny is and how you're going to get there.
And a good mentor can help you find that.
Yeah, there was no reason to get angry.
Yes.
There's no reason to get angry. There's no reason to get upset because somebody's not growing. Just give them a handicap placard. Because you've already taken on that mentality. You already own it. You have ownership in it.
Yeah.
You're sitting here telling me all the things you can't do, right?
Right.
And I'm sitting here trying to tell you you can be an overcomer through the blood of the Lamb.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know where I came up with that, but I like to tell people, sometimes in life we are on the highway, we are going 70 miles an hour and we are moving, but there are times in life you need to get off and get on the service road.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because you have stops you need to make.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you need to yield in life. I can't tell you how many times I've needed to yield in life so that I could seek God for what he had for me in store for me next. Yeah. And to realize that Lisa needed to get out of the way so that God could move.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so isn't that what mentoring is about? We take on the hard stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We take
I
on.
would not be the woman that I am if I hadn't had mentors, not a mentor,
It's so true.
mentors in my life.
Yep.
And if I didn't still have them now, I would not be the woman that I am today.
Right. And, I'm the same way. And I look at chocolate, we've only had one meeting together, a lunch together, but such an encouragement.
All it takes is one, girl. All it takes is one.
I know, right? But such an encouragement.
You know what I like to say, because I'm not a BSer, and so I like to say I know you. We know with one lunch if we're going to be friends forever or if we're not going to be. It doesn't take long for that. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry.
You just have that community and that connection and that bond, and the Lord brings you together, and you need people like chocolate in your life.
Yes.
I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, if I got to a hard place and I don't know how to do it, chocolate would be there for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to have people like that in your life, and then you want to be that to somebody else.
Yes. Yeah.
You want to you need mentors, and I don't care, if you're mentoring, several people yourself, you always need that mentor. You need both. You need both.
The Holy Spirit has spoken to me at times, and I've shared this story and said, mentor her.
Yeah.
Mentor her. But I don't tell her I'm mentoring her.
No.
Right?
No.
I just start loving on her right where she's at. Yep. And then the next thing you know, you have this connection, and you're helping to bring somebody out of those hard places.
Right.
Well, we've
all
been there.
Where we all need to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so you just start being that example.
We need a 2-part series with chocolate.
Well, you know what we can have.
We are absolutely going to have you on again.
Yeah,
I would love a 2-part series.
I think
there's so much. I'm looking, and I'm looking on your website, and then I want to hear more about the book, and just there's so much, and we love what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're everything right in the world, chocolate. You're doing everything.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and I mean that as such a true high compliment, because you're bringing to other women the opportunity not to be a victim and to do it while walking with Christ.
Yeah.
And the book speaks a lot about that too. And I know we don't have time for it today, but I encourage people to get the book. But then even just more talking about the book I share a lot of my story of very truth. I talk about the disparities. I layer it with some gospel, because why not? That's who I am, and I don't shy away from that. But I even also talk about, my white friends that want to come down to communities like my community and do so much of giving a hand out instead of a hand up, and how I frown upon that. And I just think if you empower the chocolate like me, if you empower me because I live here, then let me go do the work in my community, and you take the backseat by empowering me. We still make the basket together. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that's the truth. I can't come to Frisco or Allen or whatever and do these things without being invited in. I can't do that, but I can do it in my neighborhood because I'm already from it, And so it goes both ways. And so I'll talk a lot about that in book 1. I'm actually currently writing book 2. I have 5 books that my span of lifetime will put out, and I'm currently writing book 2 now. So yeah.
I love it. Well, and I would like to have a show with you where you do talk about that, because you're right. Lisa and I can try to go into the community. We would absolutely need to know going in there, hey, Chocolate's in the lead on this. She's going to tell me what to do, and I need to follow, because she knows the people she's trying to help best. Same here. Right. You come up here, to the Frisco area, and I think you would be willing to follow our lead, because if you've got that trust and you know that everybody's trying to get to the same goal with the people who are in need, and there are people everywhere. You can say it's just in South Dallas. No, it's in Collin County. Everybody likes to say we don't have homeless and we don't have food insecure people. Give me a break. It's all over. It's all over.
It's all over.
Yeah.
It just looks different. It's coated with a different layer.
Yes, but it's there. Yeah. It's there.
It's there. It's there. I'm up in Frisco a lot because I have to fundraise that way. And, I'm up north a lot, and there's no money in South Dallas, so I got to go up north a lot. And so Even for people that I know that, have kids that struggle with drug addiction, you're a drug addict if you're in South Dallas. But, if you're up north where you got money to hide it, it's just, you're just struggling with something. It's not, it's not a name for it.
Right.
So why does it look different? It's the same thing.
Well, and then also it's funny because it's interesting. And this could be a whole nother show topic. People not wanting to talk about it or acknowledge it. Oh, well, so-and-so's having some trouble. They're having some trouble. They're on crack. So that's not having trouble. That's killing your life.
Not having trouble. Yeah.
So
don't
so
change the
good.
language. Don't do that. So
good.
I am. Like I said, I'm very transparent, and I would love to be back on the show again. I hope that people
We'd
will
love
go
to
and
have you on.
research Redeemed Women and find out more. Find out how you can be involved, whether it's in person or remotely. Hey, we're not one of them organizations that turn people away. So, what I like to tell people is we have time, talent, or treasure, right? Or all of the above or one of the above.
So good.
Some people are just going to be in their season of being check writers. Some people are going to be in their seasons of being the behind-the-scenes newsletter writers. Some people are going to be in their season of, just praying, just because that's all they can do. Whatever it is, do that, though. You don't get a pass. You don't get a pass.
Yeah, love that. Well, Chocolate.
We have a responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing your heart with us. We will definitely reschedule you to come back on
very soon.
And also do a meeting with us here at Venture X in Frisco. Yeah, so I'll get those on the books and we'll get working on that. And we have thoroughly enjoyed you being on with us and sharing your testimony. And so can we just ask if you would close us out in a word of prayer?
Absolutely. Father, we just thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for this time that we got to gather today virtually. We thank you for the listeners that you would have here this broadcast and that they would be moved and nudged to share this podcast with their friends and also figure out ways that they can get involved, Lord Jesus. I pray for my friends that invited me to the table, that actually gave me a voice, not only inviting me to the table, but letting me have words to speak, Lord. I thank you for how we get to do life with each other, and we don't let the skin color be barriers.
Right.
And Lord, I love that we get to say black and white and not Caucasian and African American. Lord, and that is because we have relationship with one another. And so, Lord, I ask that you just bless us throughout the rest of this day. Thank you for how you allow us to bless others on our platform. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you again.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Thank
that was
you, Chocolate.
wonderful.
God bless you. Yeah, we'll have you go on again real soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Y'all have a
All right.
blessed
Y'all have a good
Monday.
day.
Yes.
Thanks. Love y'all. See y'all next
Bye-bye.
Monday.
Okay.
Bye.